Good afternoon, everybody. Hey, guys, good afternoon. It is a sad, hard day to gather with a lot of faces that haven't all been in the same room in the same place for a really long time. But it is good to see friends. It is good to be able to be together and grieve again. And I'm excited to just spend some time today honoring Cave, honoring his life, his legacy, and his friendship. And so we're going to start by getting to hear from Cave in his own words and getting to hear one final reminder of that beautiful laugh that echoes for all of us.
Love is like a red sunshine. You know what I'm saying? So they smile. If I make somebody smile that don't even know me, they will remember me next time they see me. And that's the love that I see. But when we talk about the word love coming up, I didn't have it nowhere. All back to the smile. I had to find my place. And I found it. I got a burning hell for it, and I'm going to burn, dude, because I've been happy for so long. Can't nobody take it away. These streets made a monster out of me, man. The monster's made out of, you know what I'm saying? I love you. It's all cool. But I'm gonna be like Forrest Gump right now. I don't want to talk about that no more.
I want to thank Randy Bacon for giving us permission to share that. I've watched that clip a lot to hear that smile and that laugh one more time. Cave had one of those smiles you could hear. Do you know what I'm talking about? Like when he smiled, it just like lit things up. Cave made a statement in that video, and I recognize that we are in a faith space, and so I feel responsible to say something. Because he makes this statement, and he and I had this conversation several times where he would say, if I'm gonna burn, then I'm gonna burn. And I have full confidence that that is absolutely theologically not the fact. And I feel like I need to say that in this space because I know that a lot of us have seen and experienced people who have used imagery like that against us. And I think it's important that we speak over that, and I tried to speak over that with him many times over the years as we talked. And so I want to acknowledge that I have full confidence and belief that Cave is smiling down, he is laughing, he's gathering a group of friends saying, check this out. Look at my people in my places celebrating. Look what I did. And that's how I believe in all of my heart that Cave is today and Cave will continue to be, and that we will get to see him again. And I have full confidence that he is going to be up there going, come on, check this out. I got stuff I want to show you. and he's going to give us one of the most amazing tours we've ever seen. I have asked, I have the chance to sit with friends of Caves and just kind of put together a few opportunities for people to get to share and to speak. And so, Heather, I'm going to ask if you would come first. Put together a eulogy for Cave and just wants to share her heart as someone who knew him the longest and probably better than a lot of us in this space.
Okay, I'm pretty nervous. Thanks. I gotta put on my glasses. Have you ever thought about how important your name is? It's how people identify who you are. So much of our identity is wrapped up in that name our parents gave us when we were just babies, and we were all someone's baby. Almost 11 years ago, I met a man everyone referred to as Caveman. I took an immediate liking to him. I think we all did. Within months of meeting Caveman, he was beaten very badly. He had to be hospitalized. That was when I realized, and many of us realized, we didn't know his name. Without a name, we couldn't locate him. We couldn't visit him. Without a name, we were powerless. And frankly, we were useless to him at that particular moment in time. My friend Heidi Sanders did some asking around, and Sherry was around back then too. And she learned that Caveman was Donna's Helton. Armed with the name, I was determined to locate someone in his family. And thanks to the internet, I connected with his sister in probably less than a day. Suddenly, I had a new friend, and her name was Marsha Lynn. Hi, Marsha, if you're watching on Facebook Live. I love you. Later, I made yet another friend, a niece, who loved and admired a man his family affectionately called Dee Dee. Over the years, through these relationships, I learned a lot about Dee Dee. Our friend Caveman was born Donis Helton on June 14th, 1966. He was the youngest of 5 siblings. He had 3 older sisters and 1 older brother. His parents were named Donald Ward Helton and Alvaline Helton. He was preceded in death by his brother, 1 sister, and both parents. Some of you are going to love this story. From the time he was a little boy, he would say all of America celebrated his birthday because his birthday was on Flag Day. His family always made sure he had a flag on his birthday, and his mama would buy flag plates and napkins to celebrate. Can you imagine that? Another fun fact. Donis loved science. In elementary school, he could tell you every constellation in the heavens. As an adult, Caveman suffered a head injury, which impacted all of that. When the Helton kids were little, they would race home from school, they would hurry to put their books away, and they would run out to ride their horse. But they were still so little, they were kids, and they would somehow use the side of the pickup truck to climb up onto the back of the horse. I'm sure that was a sight to behold. And with little Dee Dee running behind all of his brothers and sisters. Dee Dee loved riding go-karts. He loved riding go-karts through the yard. He also liked giving rides on go-karts, and he liked scaring all of the other little kids, but they wanted to keep riding in the go-kart, of course, because Caveman was always the coolest kid on the block. He liked riding his skateboard down the hill by their house. Told his mama didn't like that very much. She would ask him not to do it, and he would say, "But it's fun." When he was 7, his daddy got a gun for Christmas. The caveman in Donis wanted to shoot that gun. His dad told him, "Boy, you better put your big boots on." So one day, he took Dee Dee and Marshall into the woods. He put Cave on a big log, and he told him, "I'll catch you, son, when you fall. Pull the trigger." Sure enough, he fell backwards, and sure enough, his dad caught him. I learned that Caveman used to draw. He drew frogs and cars with sunglasses. He liked watching wrestling with his knees. Let me rephrase that. He liked watching wrestling with his niece. He was around 14 or 15 years old when his mom died. And at that point, he'd already spent a little bit of time on the streets. Later, his dad would remarry. His stepmother had 2 children, and naturally, she favored her own son. You see, Dee Dee couldn't live in the home anymore, but his stepbrother could. Last night, Marsha Lynn told me, and I quote, "Daddy loved Dee Dee. He just didn't like his way." That's when Dee Dee started to become the caveman we knew and loved. Along the way, he married. He had a son named Dallas. I'm told he even has a granddaughter. Somehow, he eventually found himself in Joplin. I'm not sure how. Someone here probably does know. And if you do, come share with me later. But then he landed in Springfield, where he stayed. Although, at one point in time, he was planning to leave Springfield to follow a Ronnie James Dio tribute band. That's a true story. You have to laugh. Last night I asked his sister, Marsha Lynn, "What do you want people to know about your brother?" And she said, "What you already know. He had the biggest heart. Everyone he came across loved him, even his enemies, and especially the ladies." I have a story about that. He was charming, and he had a big smile. Marcia said she loved her brother. She already misses his calls. His niece described him as her childhood playmate, and she said that she loves Dee Dee with all of her soul. I want to end with this one message. His family wants me to share with you that Donis loved every one of you all. Their Dee Dee was grateful. Our caveman was especially grateful for you ladies. You all know who I'm talking about. He would frequently tell his family, "I don't know what I would do without them." Thank you.
Robin, you want to come up?
Hi, I know a lot of you in here, and some of you I don't, but my name is Robin, and I met Cave way back in the beginning at Bill's place, which was, Jim Payne. We started serving there, so it was probably in 2008, 2009. Oh, can you hear me now? Sorry, I'm not used to doing this. Anyway, I met Cave at Bill's place in about 2008 or 2009, but it wasn't that we really bonded until the Gathering Tree in 2010. Cave always greeted me with a smile, a hug. He was always just a real, true Southern gentleman to everyone. And he was surrounded always by his sugar mamas, as he called all of us, and he had more than any one man ever could have, truly. Everybody spoiled him. Whatever Cave wanted, Cave would get. But Cave was also extremely kind and generous with every single thing he did. I've asked bus pass, his last dollar, share his earthquake, whatever it may be. During the time, we ended up spending many, many lunches, many afternoons, going to the dugout. We would go with Lee, Omari, most of you know as Escabro, Kim Kraft, Debbie Bills. We would go, and Cave loved to play that game. There's a little round hook out on their patio, and you have to get it throw this ring on this hook. We would spend hours out there playing that game, listening to his laughs, and yeah, I'd buy him beer and his chewing tobacco, so he was happy. And we had tons of laughs and stories, and I still have about 15 messages on my phone I've saved throughout the year, and they're all the same. Hey, Miss Robin, it's Caveman. I just wanted to call and tell you I love you and I miss you. It just, I can't bring myself to ever delete those messages. Sorry. Anyway, as time progressed with us, there were many, many hospital stays, as you all know. So I'd go and visit him, and at the time he told me he wanted strawberry shakes. So every day I'd go and I'd bring him one from a different place so he could decide which one was his favorite. At the time, Brahms was the winner. So I ended up just bringing him Brahms every time he was in the hospital from there. For the longest time, I always thought strawberry cakes and cupcakes were his favorite. But then I learned from Paige Payne, actually, that truly that was a myth. He really liked chocolate, but he just never wanted to break our hearts. So today I made chocolate strawberry cupcakes for him so he can get the best of both worlds. So hopefully y'all can try one. Bam Bam was, how many of you knew Bam Bam? Saw Bam Bam? Well, I was the happy recipient to be able to house Bam Bam for years, and that dog was something else. Kim Kraft got him immediately when Cave couldn't keep him, and then I was the lucky recipient that got to keep him until Bam Bam passed. And so I would take Bam Bam and have many pictures of Bam Bam when Cave lived on the porch next to Harbor House. Take Bam Bam to visit, take him to the vet center. Christmas, I'd have a little Christmas outfit for Bam Bam so Cave could love on him. And that dog was so smart, and that dog when he would see Caveman, he would just go, "Wah, wah, 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 wah." I mean, just jump up and down and do circles. I mean, dogs know love when they're loved by a human, and that dog was something really special to me as well. I thought it was super hard when I lost him. It's nothing compared to losing Cave. I wanted to share a little story. I've got a couple stories, but this one was really impactful on how Cave impacted our youth. My son and Kim Kraft's daughter are two of the stories I'm going to share because they were able to meet Cave when they were a young teenager, and now they're 20. But I texted Kayla and said, can you please share, Kayla is Kim's daughter. I said, can you please share with me what Caveman meant to you? And these are her words. She said, the first time I ever met Cave, I thought this was the most scary guy I'd ever seen. But when I was introduced, he was the biggest teddy bear. I remember giving him a goodbye hug and just feeling safe and loved by this man. Words cannot describe the impact Cave made on my life. Not only did he treat me like a good friend the first time I met him, but he always knew how to crack a joke and do something silly at the perfect time to make me laugh. Cave, you will be missed, and I wish that everyone in the entire world could have known you, because I know they would have made a loving impact on their lives just like you did mine. My son Max met Cave when he was probably 10. And it was a few years later, because we'd served, so Lee and they all knew my son and watched him kind of grow up through me when we'd have our meetings and everything, and lunches and beers or whatever it is we were doing. But I texted my son because he's away at school, and he sent me, I just said, just tell me what impact Cave had on your life. And he said, when I think of Cave, I think of how hard his life was, and that he was still laughing and having fun and finding humor in everything he did. But he would tell me at least 5 times, every single time I saw him, never do drugs, Max, never do drugs. He also told him, always listen to your mama, which that was great words of wisdom. And he said, it was impactful to me seeing his scars because he was in a fight with one of his friends and he lifted his shirt to show me his scars. But then Cave said to him, he didn't mean to do it, and I forgave him. He will always be my best friend. We were both drunk, and he is my brother and will always be my brother. And my son looked at him and said, that's amazing. That's the true meaning of brotherhood, forgiveness, and kindness, and generosity. He said, I now know that even though people can sometimes make decisions that are not always the best, they all have a story. And they're not bad, nobody's scary, and I will remember his story and his words for the rest of my life. My point with that, the impact that Cave had on these young people, is such a great blessing for them for life and what they can do for the, I hope these kids grow up and serve and just have common decency and kindness and love and respect for all people. The last story that I have is this frame that I put up here with a picture of Cave. Cave called me one day and he was super excited and he said, hey, I need to see you. I found something and you're gonna love it. And I need you to come. So I went, I saw him, we went and he said, I found this frame in a dumpster and I thought of you immediately. I knew you needed this. And he also got me this little pendant that he found. It's a heart. And it just, those are the most thoughtful, treasured gifts I've ever received in my entire life. And I'll treasure them. He sits on my nightstand every night, and he has for years, ever since I got the frame and got that picture from Randy Bacon. So when I was trying to write something, it was very difficult for me. I'm not a good public speaker. I don't get up and do this, so it was really hard. So as I'm trying to write things, and I'm crying, I'm staring at the frame, and I'm like, butterflies, there's butterflies all over it. So I decided that I would look up the meaning and symbolism of what butterflies mean. So I found something that was written by a lady named Sarah Reagan, who's a spirituality writer, and this is what she said. Butterflies represent transformation on all levels. They show us the importance of surrender and trust as part of growth and renewal. Butterflies also symbolize rebirth, hope, and bravery, all of which Cave was. The butterfly encourages us to flow through this transformation with confidence. Much like us, caterpillars have no way of knowing what's coming next, but they go on anyway, allowing death and transformation to take place. That is the true symbol of freedom. Cave is now free of his inner demons that haunted him, and he will forever fly free in peace, knowing he was so deeply loved. So the next time you're surrounded by butterflies, think of Cave and remember he is with us always and flying free. In ending, I'm going to end in Cave's words. Love to me is like a ray of sunshine. It all comes back to the smile. So keep on smiling.
Hello, everyone. Thank you. I will. Okay. All right. I have a confession to make. Until last night at 6:45, I did not know who Ronnie James Dio was. Yeah, it's a true story. It's important to know that I've been pretending to be a fan of his for 9 years now, which is a long time to uphold a charade, especially for a person who is a terrible liar. But because he was the idol of my friend Cave, and because I wanted Cave to think I was cool, I have spent these 9 years nodding along in agreement over his musical prowess and saying, "Oh, yeah, I like that one too," when he would talk about his songs. One time, Cave asked me my favorite Ronnie James Dio song, and I said, "Oh, God, I can't even think of which one is the best. What's yours?" And he told me some song I don't remember, and then he said, "I like The Pigs, too," which I now know was War Pigs. And I said, "Yeah, that one's great." It's not. I don't like it. I listened to about 20 seconds last night, and that was all I could stand. I did figure out a few years ago that Ronnie James Dio was the frontman for Dio, a fact which should have been obvious, but I didn't figure that out. It's not a common name, so I should have. Now, through my Googling last night, I discovered a few things. First off, he was the lead singer of Black Sabbath for a spell. No, I did not know that. He started his career at age 15, which is impressive, and he is credited with popularizing metal horns, which must be why Cave always did. Another thing Cave always did was give gifts. Now, people who aren't lucky enough to have our kinds of friends might not understand how a guy like Cave was such a great giver of presents, but it is, of course, because one man's trash is another man's treasure, which is a sweet way of saying he was a master dumpster diver. I think we can all agree he found the best treasures. If you were lucky enough to be one of his sugar mamas, you got them for free, while other people had to pay. My My friend Kevin, who runs Springfield Paper, commented on a post that the last time he saw Cave, he had walked into Kevin's office with a chair and said, "You want to buy this chair?" And Kevin bought the chair. So, yeah. For me, the best gift I ever got was a purple leather and feather dream catcher, which has been hanging above where I sleep since the day he gave it to me. And I didn't think about this morning, but he also gave me this shirt. So he thought a lot about these gifts and finding the perfect one for the perfect person. And while he loved all of us sugar mamas a lot, there was one he loved the most. One day, I was out behind vets with him, probably sneaking him boots or booze money, and he suddenly said, "Hey, sweetie, check this out." And from inside his jacket, he pulled out what I think was an album, though I can't exactly remember. I just remember that it was big enough that I thought immediately, how the hell did he have this in his jacket the whole time? He told me, "I got this for Miss Sherry. You think she'll like it?" And I assured him that Sherry would like anything he gave her. And he said, "I know, but it's Sherry, so it has to be special like her." Then he looked me right in the eyes and he said, "I love her so much. I wish our lives were different because I would marry her and spend every day making her happy." And I'm telling her this now because she was worried that he would never know how much she loved him back. And I promise you that he knew. And I'm done. What do I do? Hey, it's Sherry. Sorry. Get it together, girl. Oh my gosh. I was worried about that he didn't know how much I loved him, how much I love him. I've struggled for days to come up with words that would embody Cave, and honestly, there isn't enough words in the dictionary to really describe him. He was larger than life. He could make you giggle and sometimes even blush. I remember meeting him at the gathering tree on the corner of Walnut and Campbell. We both sat down by the wall and chatted about how he had just came to Springfield from Joplin, and he instantly had me intrigued with his stories, his personality, and his laughter. I soon realized he was going to be my favorite. He was going to be my favorite of all time, my friend for life. Cave was a fierce protector. He actually got in a fist fight a couple years after we met because a guy accidentally hit me with a door, and he was like, "Don't you touch her, do not touch her." And the guy was like, "Hey, if you are gonna hit me, you better knock me the F out." Well, he knocked him out, so. He was a jokester, a gift giver, best gift giver ever, I may add, which we all know. I have so many trinkets and pictures and everything that he's given me. I could always count on him to make my life brighter. We both loved each other well. When we had our one and only fight and didn't talk for far too long, we both discovered and discussed how sad and miserable we were without each other, and we promised each other we would never, ever again not talk. The memories I have will remain in my heart forever, and I find comfort that he is free, finally at peace. His love will continue to work through us all. I know I love bigger and better since Cave came into my life and my heart. Thank you.
I think everybody woo, in this room could get up here and tell stories to make us all laugh and funny memories. And I think if we all went, we'd be here all. But I do want to give a few of you a chance to share something. And so, Coco, you want to start? I'm going to challenge us to try to keep them short. But I know that's hard for anything related to Cave.
I'm here to make you laugh, because if he was in here, he would be appalled at all of us crying. I only know Cave from the viewpoint of a friend, and maybe somebody that he lightly harassed every once in a while. I want to know, because I feel cheated. How many of you were promised cave babies and howling at the moon? Hands up, I want to see them, because I feel, yeah, that's what I thought. I thought maybe I was special. I would have given him some. It's just, he had to catch me at the right time, and our paths never crossed. He's the only man in the world I would ever let speak to me like that. He would, that's what. His absence is going to be heard and felt the rest of our lives. I don't think I've ever met anybody like him, and I don't think I ever will again. And I'm just really grateful that you all loved him and you all knew him, and we all got to see this bright star of a human being come past us. Do it with me. One time for Gary. I love you guys.
Want to share for a minute?
I've known Caveman for about 20 years. I dated Escabro, everybody knows him. Oh, okay. I just got off the street one time and I got an apartment at 911 North Main, of all things. I don't know, a bunch of us did. I was so excited. I had got this apartment. And my mom was an alcoholic, okay? And I was like, man, she's coming to stay the night with me. Caveman, I need you to come and help me. He's like, why? I said, just do it. So he showed up at my house, and my mama showed afterwards. So a whole bunch of us went downtown and walked, showed my mom Springfield. They were getting drunk the whole time, laughing and cutting up, and we just like shaking our heads and just walking with them. We get back to my house. Every time he'd see me after that, went in there and I held up my mom's air mattress. And all of a sudden, my mom, she disappears. Then all of a sudden, I go to the bathroom, came back, and I thought that Caveman left. I'm like, where'd Caveman go? I heard somebody was talking in the dining room. I go in there, and he's in there with my mama, laying down in the bed. I said, he had that little ponytail. I grabbed that ponytail. I said, hell no, you ain't. You ain't gonna be. So after that, every time he seen me, he says, I was this close to being your stepdaddy. I'm like, no, you wasn't. And so after that, me and Caveman just bonded. And we were homeless together. We lived in a spooky house, and I made him sleep in the recliner, and he'd say, Cece, why'd you get up and pull on my sheet? I said, I ain't pulled on nothing, I was sleeping. He goes, I said, oh no, that was that ghost. What'd you do to him? You made him mad. He said, hell no, I'm gonna keep that, tell that ghost to leave me alone. I said, nope. So the next night he's gonna say, Cece, why do you keep messing with me? I said, I ain't messing with you. And Escabro said, you did something. So the next night, he said, I ain't sleeping in that house, I'm sleeping on the front porch.
Oh my goodness. Anybody else want to share?
Hey. I knew Caveman. When I first got in town, he was one of my best friends. I met him. I've shared a porch with him, several. Hey, bro. I told you once, I told you 1,000 times. We'll always be brothers. You got your dollar.
Anybody else?
Caveman was awesome. Roy James Dio. He loved Roy James Dio. You know, I love him so much. You know, he was one of a kind. He was one of a kind, Caveman was. And yes, I know he's up here right now listening to Roy James Dio. He's with it. And with that, much love and much love, much love. That's all I had to say.
So we were trying to think of a way that would be fitting for Cave. You know, sometimes when things happen suddenly, we don't have a lot of warning. We don't always make the most of those last moments because we don't always know that they are our last moments. And we don't always make the most of our last interactions. We don't say the things we wish we would have said because we thought we'd have more time. And I think all of us in this room felt like we would have more time. We would have more time to cut it up and joke and pretend to know Ronnie James Dio. Whitney, I'm not gonna lie, this was my first week to listen to it too. I know. And I listened to a lot of it, so. Please, do you wanna come get a microphone? Thanks, Irish. So here's what I want us to do today. I'm gonna have them bring the house lights up a little bit. I asked each of you to grab a note card and a pen as you came in. And if you didn't grab one, Elisa and Bob have some. And okay, first of all, can we just take a second to say how cool it is that Cave filled this room to standing room only? I know a lot of people who live in a lot of big houses and drive really fancy cars who wouldn't fill this place up. Here's what I want you to do. We are gonna play a Ronnie James Dio song. We are gonna rock out to Rainbows in the Dark. And while it plays, here's what I wanna challenge you to do. I want you to write your goodbye to Cave on a card. If it wouldn't have rained, we were gonna have a bonfire outside and we would have burned them because it's a little nicer on the environment than a balloon launch. But here's what we're gonna do instead. This spring, we are gonna plant a memorial garden here on our grounds. And we're gonna be able to add plaques of our friends that we lose. And so I have added 2 boxes on the front down here. And here's what I wanna invite you to do is to leave your goodbye in one of those boxes. And I am going to add them to our compost pile. And we are going to plant them with our flowers this spring and let our goodbyes turn into something really beautiful. I'm not gonna read them. I won't know it's from you. So I invite you, because I'm a big believer that closure is important, take these next few minutes and just get to kind of capture some things that you would have loved to have had a chance to say, and for him to give you one of those big famous smiles and hugs right back. So enjoy some Johnny Ray Dio for a minute. And Ronnie J, I'm sorry. God, told you I would screw that up. Enjoy.
Just the right